him there if he'd just not got in his way. Because he's rubbish, patently. Meanwhile,
this is a B lobby, to be fair. It's at the top end of B.
So we've got Nate, who's in first place in a Mustang. Oh, you got a bit squirrely there, didn't you, mate? Who you said had a 4-second penalty.
Yeah.
Now, we were watching this earlier just to see if how we could do this kind of stream. Yeah. And when Nate gets overtaken, his only way of dealing with it seems to be flash your lights.
Yeah.
He spends the next 10 laps flashing his lights at Hugh, even when he's 10 miles behind him.
That's a great shot, that one, isn't it? That's a great shot.
Not bad, is it? Not bad at all.
More smoke.
And you've got past Dennis!
Yeah.
Dennis is rubbish. He wasn't menacing anybody. The thing he's menacing is grip.
Yeah, another flash.
Yeah, that's going to work, pal.
So, I had to do a pit stop. And I want the mediums. I started on the mediums purely because I thought I'd be well at the back. And I wasn't at the back. I was kind of on 8th place. But we're now leading from 8th, which is not too bad.
They are the softer tyre. They are the faster tyre at this point. And you've got, if you notice, Stia Machine has got the fastest lap at the moment, but that may or may not change, says the guy that's already seen this race and knows it changes.
Coming down into the last corner and
yes, you've got to watch that big sausage. You don't want sausage time. That's a Blackadder joke for anyone. Oh, someone called Hugh Hatchett's got the fastest lap by quite a way. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, it's still got a long way to go, mind.
That's true.
They get the top guys like Super GT's done a 119.8 the last time I checked. So there's an awful lot of time there. I should be getting in the 21s, if not even the 20s. If I really got it.
You've got to remember you're on medium tyres and they're worn. I mean, look how quickly they're wearing. Was it? Did you say it was 9 times tyre wear?
Yeah, 9 times the wear. If I go,
it's huge.
There is this guy in second place.
Nice.
This seems like a much harder car to drive, the Mustang.
Yeah, the GT3 Mustang. I've driven the GT3. I think I've got one, and it's okay, but it is a bit. It's weird because you know my feelings on the Porsches normally that they're so tail happy, it's ridiculous. And of course this is BOP, so it's you know you can't fiddle with the suspension. To sort of try and stabilise it. But I've been driving. I've got this car for the EDTM safety car, and without changing anything on it and BOP, I find it really quite nice to drive. Don't tell anybody. So the thousands of people that are going to be watching this, don't tell anyone. Especially don't tell. Oh, Dennis. Dennis has shown that his back end really doesn't like to go in a straight line. Not when he's driving it. That's what I was expecting it to be like for me, but it wasn't. Hugh, you like the Porsches traditionally anyway, don't you? You've always kind of got on with them.
Kind of started on them, to be fair, when I got Gran Turismo Sport, because the Porsche 911 was always quite a go-to car. I always remember Super GT saying it was a good car to do a lot of Group 3. So I used to do it all the time. And once you get into a car, you kind of get used to it. You know, so you try. It was that and the Audi TT for Group 4.
You did like the Audi DT, yeah. But you've always liked Group 4 cars as well. So this is another thing you were saying earlier, that this is a GT3 car, Group 3 car, and you were surprised how well you did in it, considering that in Gran Turismo Sport you never really got on with the Group 3 cars.
Further down you can see this action. Oh, there he goes.
No-C's gone.
There's some great shots here. I have to say I'm quite impressed with the graphics of GT7. The way that there's so much more available. It just seems clearer, and you get sound, you get more dust and gravel. It looks a lot better.
That is a lot better when it's working. The glitching that's going on in lobbies and that kind of stuff is not so good.
Yeah,
that's a bit of a pain. But of course, you've got a PlayStation 5 now, haven't you? So you've got a bit more power to the pound.
Yeah.
Whereas people like me that only have PlayStation normal, well, it runs, it works perfectly well.
I have.
Wow.
That is a
I mean,
long...
I wonder. I think someone was saying on the weekend with the EDTM Pro race that I was commentating last Saturday that if the lobbies run from a PlayStation 5, it runs with less glitching than if it's run off a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, it just makes sense if you think about it. GT7 is a big program, though. It's a big program.
Yeah.
I think they've packed it full of a lot of useless stuff, unfortunately. So, Hat-Trick is in the lead, he's off. Dennis is back in third place, as you can see.
Yeah. And some of them are going to start doing their pit stops.
Yeah, it's around this time they get the pit stops, because as you can see, the tyres are knicky-knacky-nooed. Actually, I think some of them have already done their pit stops. Yes, they did them earlier, because when we were watching it earlier, you had to go and do something while I was watching it. A bunch of people the people that were in front of Dennis did their pit stops. Leo, he does one late, because he does it after you. I got
a couple of clean laps here, which I thought I may as well just stay out because it was quite close behind. I thought if I can get clean laps and just keep going, we'll see how we get on once we have to come in and do.
Do me a favour, go back to Leo. I want to see what tyres he's on.
He's on the hard now.
He's on, so that explains why it stayed out longer. Because they do wear. Because the one thing I've noticed with Gran Turismo 7 is that the wear rate is appreciatively. Look at the English. It's a lot realer. It's different. Sorry, between the different tyre types.
Yeah.
So the softs do wear a lot quicker, but they also keep their grip. You know, it's like I know there's been a few updates lately where they've tried to sort of fiddle with the tyre wear and stop it from being too. Look at these penalties everywhere.
Yeah, Kashif has got a big penalty of half a second, but we've had a few 4-second penalties in the lobby.
I wonder where they're getting the 4 seconds from. So,
I think Hat-Trick goes in the pits. And I thought here, I'm finished, because everyone was going past me. And I wasn't even in the pits, it was taking forever and ever and ever. And
you were miles ahead of them, mate. Miles ahead of them.
I think I was about 11 seconds ahead.
It doesn't show the differences. So, yeah, I mean, that's... And you were faster than everybody else as well, but nobody was catching you up. You were relatively quick here. I mean, you're comparing yourself to Super GT and all these people, 119s. I'm going to have to see what I'm going to have to do now is get in my car
and have a go
and try it, because I have this car. Well, I did it after Interlagos on the weekend, and I was very chuffed with myself. Still rubbish, but I managed to get on soft tyres. I managed to get near-ish the medium race speed of the EDTM people.
Well, that's all right. I mean, it's only 3 or 4 seconds. That's not bad. It's got to get there.
So rubbish. I'm all over the track. I mean, the people keep telling them. It cracks me up when people sort of say, right, what you need to do is you need to take this line and you need to hit that apex, you need to be over there, and it's like, yeah, most of the time I'm spending my time just staying on the track and making sure I brake. Placing the car on the, at a specific place on the track, later. I'll work that out later.
Well, I'm making this just before I go out on my route on the bus, so I'm getting myself all psyched up. So my passengers, when they get there nice and early, they'll look at their watch and think, my goodness, I'm 5 minutes early for my appointment. But,
well, I've been watching dashcam YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Worst drivers in Britain, and I'm thinking of you and what you're having to put up with on the road. No, you thought I was going to talk about you and your driving. No, I'm talking about what you have to deal with being on the road with all these utter morons. Because I found out that they changed the highway code earlier this year. I was watching a video of a guy called Black Belt Barrister. He's got an interesting channel.
Oh yeah.
And he's going through this change to the wording of the highway code, which I think is nuts. One of the things that winds me up is when I come to cross the road, and then someone will stop and wave me across. Now, you might think, oh, Andrew, you've been a bit unfair. They're being nice to you. Yeah, they're being nice to you. But if they just drove past, we'd both get there quicker.
Yeah.
Because then I wouldn't be wondering what the hell's going on with this person. I wouldn't be thinking I've got to skip across the road. When I had before I had the procedure, the problems where I couldn't walk fast or run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what I didn't know is that they've changed the highway code. So now, if someone's waiting to cross, a car has to stop. And it doesn't matter where they are.
Really?
Yes.
Goodness, I didn't know that.
Absolutely. I mean, go on, look up Black Belt barrister and he explains it. But the wording is that if someone's in the road, obviously you've got to give way to them because you'll kill them if you run them over. That's obvious. You know, we all know that. And it's always been a case if someone's crossing a road at a junction, you stop. Now, if someone's waiting to cross, and it doesn't have to be a crossing point or anything like that, you have to stop for them. So if you're
nobody will know about that.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of person that would keep up to date with that kind of stuff if I was still driving.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the problem with this is that let's say you're on a mini roundabout and you're coming off a mini roundabout and someone's waiting, you've got to stop. You're blocking the whole road.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like you say, a bunch of people don't know it's there.
Yeah.
And they get out and punch your lights out because you're like, what are you doing in the middle of the road? You know. And that's the problem. Whereas before it was obvious, you know, the Green Cross Code, wait until cars go past.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then that was it. That was the green
Because
flag,
the problem is, and you do very well here, on your hard tyres by the way, and you're in the lead, and you're miles ahead of everybody. But the problem is very simple. If you get it wrong, and you step out into the road with a car coming, assuming that they're going to stop, and you get it wrong, you're dead.
Yeah.
Because you get hit by 2 tons of car.
So the
If you got it wrong before, all that happens is a car goes past.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's consequences.
Yeah.
You know, you can make all the rules in the world, but it's like, you know, we can rule that,
What?
like an NSX, was it?
It was an NSX, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like them.
I want to see where all the other battles that are going through the field. That's,
Oh, look at that, an R8.
Yeah, there's an R8.
Anyway, that's my little rant.
It was a good week. I was just thinking, I'm going to definitely do more of these later on in the week, and I'm sure those who are watching can put in their views and let us know what you think. And the good news is, it looks like hopefully I might be able to do more interviews and more streams as we get on, as I might be changing company. We'll see how we get on, and that might give me a few more hours to do streams and interviews. So I'm looking forward to that.
You bus things so that your hours are a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah,
you've been a bit.
I've just not had any time in the last 9 months.
No, it's been nuts, you know. Absolutely insane.
And now that I've got the PS5, it's great to stream from.
I think this must be the first commentary thing we've done together for about a year.
Yeah, certainly the end of last year at least. Aye. Oh, it's good to get back into it.
It's nice to have someone to commentate with that knows what they're doing. Because I don't.
We're the 2 sane commentators, are we?
I don't know about sane. You might be.
That's the thing. So we've got 2 laps to go. The Dream Crusher's back in 7th place.
We do like that.
I like that
that.
library. That is a good one.
It's good, mate. Yeah. Dream Crusher. Yeah, it's not crushed many people's dreams today, is it?
That's a nice library as well. That's quite a good one. Oh, what is that? Is that the Mazda? It sounds like that one of those Mazdas.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Mazda.
Squeak. Is that like a Vankel engine then?
Yeah,
A
something.
Vankel. No talk.
But it revs to crazy revs.
If you change it to the bonnet, the bumper cam, that's the one. No, you've gone past. Go back. Keep going. Oh, keep going, and again, and again, and again, and again. Stop. Yep, 10,000 RPM.
Yeah.
Sounds like an old-fashioned F1 car, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. They were the best. They were the best by far and away.
Those V10s, oh my goodness. They were very special.
Yeah,
I'm not a great fan of super duper high revving, but about between 10 and 15,000 RPM does sound pretty good.
Aye.
I remember when I was at that Hockenheim Grand Prix that I was at with the V10s, my favourite sounding cars were the Formula 3000 motors.
They just quite nice.
They were pretty good because they didn't rev too high, and they had a bit of a bass note as well as the scream.
Yeah. Aye.
I suppose it's a bit like old Gordon Murray and his Cosworth V12 that he's got now. That sounds special. That's special, that is.
Yeah.
12,100 RPM. Not bad, eh?
So what do you think of my return to GT3 racing?
Successful.
I've had 15 attempts at GT7 multiplayer so far, and this is the first one I've actually done. I had a second place, but other than that, I've always started higher and then ended up down the grid.
But was this because you did your normal thing where you get really excited?
Yeah, I think also I didn't have much time when I was playing the games. I was just literally jumping on and having a go, and I didn't really get much practice. I don't think I really had the feel for the game at that point. It took me a wee while to really get into it, especially on the PS5 too. It's just brand new. I've only just got it. Whoa!
Plus, it's changed so much. So you managed to lap someone as well.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. I ended up winning by 21.5 seconds.
And you were worried about the pit stop.
Yeah. Well, I genuinely thought, oh no, why is it so slow?
There he is for the win!
Finally won something. Finally won something.
Oh, and he smashed into the wall as he goes over the line.
Because it takes across. It took the wheel off me.
Of course,
it takes over.
The computer.
The computer couldn't drive right. And that was
this is, in my commentary, what we know as the Phil block.
Yeah.
Okay, because Phil the hooligan on 2 races had something they had to go and deal with, so he pressed the button for it to do self-drive.
Yeah.
And in an endurance plebs charity race.
Yeah.
This thing, oh my goodness, this computer-controlled car. It kind of cruised around at about 2/3 racing speed.
Yeah.
Until someone tried to go past, where it would randomly smash into them. It was just awful. The computer managed to crash. So we called it the rolling Phil block, because it was Phil's car, but it was the computer doing it, and it was just like a roadblock. It was death. It was like, do you remember back in the late 90s, early 2000s, they had those Japanese drivers always at the back.
Oh yeah.
Like the Shinya Nakano and all this kind of stuff, and their job seemed to be, when the leaders were lapping them, to smash into them and take them off.
Yeah.
Similar kind of thing.
Yeah. I know, that was something. Well, of course, we've got the American Grand Prix, the US Grand Prix at Texas this weekend.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, so let's see how
that's always a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, and normally quite a close one.
I don't like these new cars. I don't like them at all. They're boring.
Yeah, the racing's not been as good. I think obviously Max has had a clear advantage with his car this year. So, to be fair, I thought Lewis had incredible consistency up until a few races ago. He was finishing second and third, quite a lot, which was pretty good.
Well, they've managed to sort out a few things with the car, haven't they?
Yeah,
so
but I hope it can be closer next year. I really hope they can get back and get a proper championship of it.
See, people get going, oh, it's been fantastic racing. Look at all this overtaking, and it's like, there's
last year was
overtaking
better.
and there's racing, and they're not the same things.
Last year was better because you had some really good. I mean, it literally was one person won one race, and then Max would win the other, and it was just one to the other to the other. And it was really something.
On track, I mean, true on track action. We're not talking about the fakery, the fake action that happens. It's like people like randomization of everything because it creates jeopardy, and it's like, well, it's the same jeopardy you get in a film. That you know's in the script, and you know they're doing it because of the formula that you need jeopardy. Or at the end of a quiz show, when they go, and the answer is, and 10 minutes later, when you've fallen asleep or you've chucked something through the television because you're screaming at it, well, just say it! Number 3! That's not jeopardy, that's just irritating, and that's what Formula One's doing. But then, like you say, last year, it's like at the British Grand Prix. You just had no idea what was going to happen because you knew everyone was going to try and kill each other. Meanwhile, Alonso is carving past everyone on lap 1 because he's just amazing at that kind of stuff. And all of it was just astonishing driving. The skill, the skill. And they had the cars where they could do that kind of stuff. Whereas now, the cars...
it's gone a bit more dominant again, isn't it? But maybe next year it'll, because I don't think Mercedes are far away, and then I think there's Ferrari. I always wonder at them because I kind of think they have a good car, but they just make terrible decisions.
Totally. Well, this is the thing that Ross Brawn brought to the team, wasn't it? Now at the moment, the slickest in terms of pit stops and all that kind of stuff is Red Bull, and they've always been good. They have always been completely obsessive about that. Well, before them, it was Ferrari under Ross Brawn. But he brought that to the team. He brought a sort of a unity to the team in the way he went about everything he did, including building good relationships with the engine division, which is like a separate building. He wasn't. There was Jean Todt in charge of everything. There was this guy whose name I can't remember who was in charge of the engine side, and then at the same level was Ross Brawn. So he wasn't actually the top guy, but what he did is he put a lot of effort into building. There'd always been kind of like banging heads within the team. These two positions, which is part of the problem over the years. He put a lot of effort into building relationships with these guys so that they could work together. And then, of course, he was obsessive about getting everything as slick as possible. And they didn't make mistakes. I mean, it was incredible what they managed to do with Schumacher and the tactics back in the day. And now Ferrari's back to being like, hey, we need the tyres. How many tyres? I don't know. I'm going French. I've gone from Italian to French. Sorry.
Here's another one for you.
3. We need 3 tyres. No, these are 4.
What do you think of this?
Super Formula.
I love this. This is on the one of the license tests to get your super license. And I actually got a really good time. I think I was into the 4.9. 104.9.
Do you want to bring up... this is the other thing that we hate about GT7, if the idiots are listening. You have to do this every time. You can't set it to just do it. It's just stupid. Wow. So this is you driving?
Yep.
That was very accurate there. You like these high downforce cars?
Oh,
it's really
I love
weird
it.
How you say you didn't get on so well in GTS at least. You didn't get on so well with the Group 3 cars, but you always liked the Group 4 cars, and yet you get into this kind of thing, and look at you, you're very accurate.
And look at the time when it was great fun. It just used to stick.
I do like the Super. I was surprised how much I liked this. Oh, you and your sausage. Sausage time!
Well, I thought I'd done a really good time. And it's like at 104, I think. By 3. I've done one that I did at 104.9, I think, but the top time is like a 101 point something or something ridiculous, but I don't know how they do it any quicker than that. But that's
I don't know. I know that.
Yeah, I don't know how they would have done that any quicker, but If I go to that one. No, where was the other one? Oh yeah, that was the Watkins Glen as well. Let's see if I can.
So will you be wanting this to be on your stream as well, by the way?
Yes, I may as well.
Okie dokie. I'll just
I've got a manual
reminding you.
gearbox.
You get an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, this car! I've got this car, and it's a monster.
Great
It's a
fun.
monster, and I've got the manual gearbox for it. So I drive this around here. In fact, I did this the other day, and it's just 700 odd horsepower
Yeah.
with a clutch and a
Gears.
manual gearbox, and it's got 7 gears. So I've of course got a 6-speed shifter. So I've had to set up. Well, I've had to set up a couple of buttons on my steering wheel as the gear shifters, so I can go into 7
Alright, okay.
with the manual gearbox. So it's like I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I have to press a button to go to 7. It's like having an old-fashioned overdrive. You press a button,
Yeah.
and
You get 7.
get 7. Because what I've done is I've set it up now, because I've got the shifter, I use the shifter as a semi-automatic
Yeah.
or full manual, and that means I can use the paddles as the handbrake for if I'm ever doing any off-road stuff, the rallying stuff.
Yeah.
Got a fantastic sound on this engine.
I eventually managed to do a lap time. I think I won 14.2.
Oh wow.
Wasn't too bad. I just managed to beat Richie in Glasgow. Glasgow and I are always competing, and you normally
Well, it's
beat me on
trading
most
times,
things,
eh?
but
Okay.
we were very, very close. So if Glasgow's watching right to the end, you'll see this.
Glasgow's pretty fast as well, isn't he?
Oh
And,
yeah, he's good. He's good. Like some good
Richie's
races.
also a lot. You know,
Yeah,
it's funny
Richie's
because
very good.
Richie downplays how quick he is, but he is actually pretty competitive
Yeah.
in terms of times. I mean, he's also competitive in terms of driving, but you know,
Yeah.
a competitive person. But not sort of like stupidly competitive, like bash into you, take you out. But he's quick, you know, quick. He's not Deck levels of quickness, because Deck is just ridiculous. I'll put it this way, Interlagos, I don't know what happened in the previous race where Deck wasn't anywhere. It might have been, I think it was in the wet or just a track he really hates, I don't know. But generally speaking, he's off into the distance at the front, and the guys he's racing, these mad Finnish people, are fast.
Yeah.
You know? So he was going a second a lap on the same tyres faster than anybody else on the track.
Wow.
A second a lap. And
Yeah, that's a
so
lot.
he got pole position. He got pole position. Everybody else was doing this thing because the fuel usage is on during the qualifying practice bit as well. So most people, they'll do a few laps to burn off fuel, and then in the last 5 minutes or so, they come in, get fresh tyres, they've got low fuel, off they go. He didn't bother with any of that. He just kept going faster and faster and faster and faster, and he obliterated everybody on half-warm tyres. It's just like, okay, fair enough.
So this one
Ridiculous.
could get me a reason if I can get round here all right. This should be a reasonable.
We were talking about track limits earlier, and these big orange things, it looks like it only gives you penalties if your inside tyres cross over the inside of the big orange curbs.
Yeah.
So it's not the line, it's the whole curb.
Yeah.
So that you can use so much more track. I was watching, who was it? Was it Key 28 or?
Oh, Key 25, yeah.
Yeah, 25. Going around there.
Yeah.
And in that car, in fact.
All right, that's quite good. Well, I think on that note, we will call it a day.
Okie dokie.
I've
But
got to
before
go
you
and-
go anywhere else, I suggest, Mr. Hattrick, you press the save video button. So you've got your options button. Not options, the other one, was it the share button? Is it the call?
No, that one.
No, the share
on.
button on your controller.
Yep. All right. Save me some gameplay.